Hi, welcome to What the Flick. I'm Christy, this is Alonso, this is Ben. We're going to talk about Fruitvale Station, which came out last week. We wanted to get to it, but we're getting to it now, and it's sadly a lot more relevant now than ever before, so please describe it to us.
Yeah, it still doesn't have a wide release, though. So
yeah, it's opening. It's getting
opening
out there.
wide, so it was in very few theaters. Obviously, I think in the Bay Area and here in Los Angeles. And maybe New York, I don't know. So Fruitvale Station, that's the name of the station where Oscar Grant was killed on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, 2008, 2009. He was a kid from Oakland who went into the city with his friends and with his girlfriend to watch the fireworks on New Year's Eve, and then was killed by a BART police officer when he was arrested after a fight on the train. Killed accidentally, we presume. That's what the jury found. He was 22 years old, had a daughter, and this is the filmmaker's Ryan Coogler. It's essentially his debut. It's not essentially; it's his debut film. It is quite a debut. It is a powerful film. I guess made more powerful, as Christy said, by what happened this week with the Zimmerman verdict and the reaction to it around the country. But I think this movie would be as powerful whenever it was released.
Hey, Oscar. How are you?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Oscar?
Year.
Oscar from Pharmacia? Shots fired, Fruitvale.
Yeah, so what is so great about this is that it really humanizes him and all his flaws and all his struggles. Michael B. Jordan is great in this. He's had some supporting roles in like Red Tails. He's been in a few other films.
He was in Chronicle. He was on The Wire and Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, he was one of in the back half of Friday Night Lights, one of the stars, and he was great.
He's got this young Denzel Washington thing going as far as his eyes, his smile, the charisma about him, but also the capability to show some more depth and some more darkness. This will make him a star, and it should. They don't deify this guy, this character. They show him still pondering dealing drugs. They're showing him still lying to his girlfriend, and he's trying to get his shit together. And I don't know how much of his day actually did play out like this, or how much they fictionalized it a little bit, dramatized it a little bit. But it's a very complex look at a young man.
Well, they might have. Ryan Coogler may have fictionalized the day, but they didn't dramatize it. It's not. Nothing, part of what makes the movie so effective is that nothing that he does during the day is dramatic at all.
Right, it's a mundane day. Right. Well, there's a thing with the dog.
Yeah, right, but I mean, he sees a dog killed and he's sad by it. He has to buy his mom a birthday present and some food for the party, and he has to buy, his sister calls him and said, "I'm working late, can you get mom a card for me?" He goes, picks up his kid from daycare. It's an incredibly ordinary day.
Yeah, and part of what's so effective about the film, I think, is even if you're thinking this is just going to be weighed down by the tragedy of what happened to this guy, even if you take that out of it, just the look at this day and the look at how the actions of that day tell you everything about this character, or at least this version of this character, whatever, however realistic or not that it is, in that way, it's already so compelling and so moving that just the thing on top of it of the tragedy of what occurred just really kind of cements it all. But even without that, I think it's such effective, small scale kind of Dardenne Brothers sort of storytelling about little day-to-day things and what they reveal about the person.
Yeah, Melonie Diaz is also great as his girlfriend.
Terrific. Octavia Spencer is the mother.
Yeah.
The women, I think, in the movie really do as much as Michael Jordan's performance in telling you about this guy, because the way they are with him in that they love him, but they're also wary of him, and they are always trying to make sure that he's not trying to pull one over on them. That tells you a lot of where this guy's been and how he has treated people and how they still love him, but he has not necessarily done right by everybody in his life.
And you see how he is with his daughter.
Yeah.
And so loving and so comfortable with her. And I know the actress's name who plays the little girl, but she is great.
Yeah.
And she looks astonishingly like Oscar Grant's actual daughter. But the last shot with her is just devastating. But yeah, you know the killing is coming, and so there is sort of this quietly mounting sense of dread.
Ariana Neal.
Yeah, she's really, really good. But yeah, that's a good point you make about how even if we didn't have this tragic thing at the end, it's just a really complex story.
What frustrated me, among many things, but was that this is a guy who'd been in prison and was legitimately trying to make things right, but had no idea how to make things right because the odds are so massively stacked against you. if you've been in prison and you're young and black in an urban center in America, Oakland in this case, because he literally on the subway gets into a fight with something leftover beef from
former inmate,
prison, and then of course because he's presumably on probation, he can't get arrested again. But like you can't win. Like it's hard. I mean, yes, there are things he could have done better. Part of what makes this so effective is that they do, as you said, there's no deification to this guy in any way. He's incredibly real. But what he wanted to do was the right thing, and he wanted to get his job back working at the grocery store, and he wanted to not sell drugs. And what he was doing, no matter what you think of him, was being around for his daughter.
Right.
Like he was doing the right thing. But if you've been to prison and you're young and black, you're fucked without an incredible piece of good luck. And he, as it turned out, of course, had an incredible piece of bad luck.
Yeah, the one moment of the film actually that doesn't take place on that New Year's Eve is a flashback to when he's in prison and Octavia Spencer comes to visit him, and it's a really intense scene because it's basically her saying, I can't do this anymore, I can't come see you here anymore. And he has to then deal with, to see Jordan simultaneously be totally heartbroken and trying to reach out to her while at the same time having to be like the sort of tough prison guy against this dude that he's later going to have the fight with. At the same time, it's an incredible piece of acting, and it's just a real gut punch of a moment.
Yeah, it was a very powerful scene, and of course that ultimately, if we're to believe this version of Oscar Grant, which seems, my hunch is in general correct, is that here's this guy trying to do the right thing, but still has that, I'm not going to step back when people step to me. And the cops, all of whom were justifiably fired in the shooting, because forget the cop who says that he was pulling out his taser, and they all did have tasers at first, and that seems plausible to me, but I don't know. Either way, that handled incredibly poorly by the police from start to finish, who played an enormous role in letting a situation like that exacerbate itself. Why the hell, and I'm not a police officer, and I'm incredibly sympathetic to the difficulties faced by police officers who have very tough jobs. But why you don't, if it's two groups fighting, if it's black guys and white guys fighting on a bus on a train, why you don't pull one group off the train, hold them there, let the train go, and then have the other guys take another train is beyond me. Like why you don't, but instead they pull the black guys off and then they all engage in activity that ultimately led to Oscar Grant's death, and they were justifiably fired, and they had no business being law enforcement officials and getting guns in the first place from the state.
But the cop who was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter got out after, what? 11 months. He was sentenced to 2 years and got out after 11 months.
Yeah, because he convinced the jury that what he meant to do was that he was trying to pull out his taser, which they'd all used before. But I don't understand why you got to taser people who are handcuffed and on the ground.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was already subdued.
I guess because he was standing up there, all kind of standing. They panicked. They
panicked because they're bad at their job.
Yes.
They're bad cops. They were bad at their job.
All right, we should do numbers.
It was the most difficult movie I've seen in years. I don't know, maybe ever, but certainly in
Wow.
years. It was really hard for me to watch, and I cried intermittently throughout the movie.
The last shot, my God.
Yeah, but I was already done
horrible.
by that movie. It was really hard for me to watch.
Then please give me a number.
10.
All right.
And I don't think that has anything to do with the week that I saw it. I really wasn't thinking about Trayvon Martin or the Zimmerman verdict. It was just a really powerful movie on its own. Yeah.
8.4, a lot of it I loved. The scene with the dog I felt was so heavy-handed and such clumsy foreshadowing. I'm amazed that after Sundance, nobody said, let's take the dog thing out.
There's a scene with the dog, there's a scene with the guy that he meets on New Year's Eve who gives him his business card, which didn't ring totally true.
Yeah, that too.
What are the odds he's going to meet some guy who's going to offer him a job?
There were a couple of moments that were sort of like,
That's funny. I thought that
very few of them.
I found that so odd that I thought that must have happened.
Okay.
Yeah, but the dog bit, I agree.
But a great movie.
8.4, I give it 8.6, you give it a 10, so our average is a 9. It is at 90% on the tomato meter, so it is coming to your town eventually. Please go see it.